My name's Jacob Richards. I'm a 30-year-old activist here in Junction, Colorado, and I work with an organization called Housing First, No More Deaths that works with homeless people to find grassroots solutions and political solutions and apply political pressure to make the solutions happen in this town. And we've been in formation since middle of 2009, the summer of 2009. I first started getting involved in the homeless issue in 2004 when I was in college and I was working at the North Avenue shelter. And later, after I left the job, and not necessarily left it under good terms, I really started to see the shelter system as part of the problem, and a bureaucracy that wanted to get more money to expand the shelter, which I really saw akin to, investing in a bigger bucket when you really need to fix the leaky roof. And so we parted ways, and I started covering the homeless issue for an underground newspaper that me and my friends were running on the campus at the time called The Red Pill, which is still sometimes in print, and you can find us on the web if you just search Grand Junction Red Pill. My senior year, I was doing, I had to do a study for ethnographic methods, which is like cultural anthropology. And I spent a year doing interviews with 20 chronically homeless men living in their camps, talking to them about the issues, following them during the year and the course of their lives during that year. And I published a book, ourselves, with our media, and you can find it on The Red Pill or Microcosm Publishing. And my house and my friends started doing a feed where we cook a public meal and serve it in the park every Saturday. We started that in 2008, and fall of 2008. In the summer of 2009, we started Housing First, No More Deaths, because the winter of 2008-2009 was really hard. There was about, it's kind of hard to tell because they don't mark homeless on the death certificates, but there was 15 to 16 people who died literally on the streets of this city in 2008-2009. And we're a relatively small city. There's only 50,000 people that live here. So we felt that was a ridiculous situation for our community, and we formed Housing First, No More Deaths in the summer of 2009. When we started initially, there was a push by the city council to ban panhandling, and a number of people use flying a sign as a way to supplement their income. Food stamps doesn't cover toilet paper and toothbrushes or heating fuel or anything like that people who aren't lucky enough to be the 200 people into the shelter system each night are forced to camp out. So they need supplies that aren't being met by these charities. There's a maximum total shelter beds between the emergency overflow during the winter of the churches, the North Avenue shelter, and the rescue mission. There's roughly 220 beds, and there's at very least 800 homeless people in the valley, so there's about one bed for every 4 people. That's always my answer when people ask, is too much being done for the homeless? Are we making it too comfortable? I'm like, yeah, one bed for every 4 people, way too comfortable. We should make it one bed for every 8 people. I don't think people realize the scope of the problem, because it's largely, people don't go around screaming, hey, I'm homeless. There's homeless people walking by you all the time that don't know where they're going to sleep that night. And so we started taking action, and first thing we did was beat an anti-panhandling law, and then we organized and pushed for a number of different directions, and things have gone back and forth. We've won some, we've lost some. Last summer, we investigated and filed a complaint for police abuse and misconduct when police went into a homeless encampment, slashing tents, slashing bicycle tires, peeing on sleeping bags, smashing up people's Oreos and bananas. And we filed a complaint, and the city, was kind of the crux, the turning point, really, because after the city decided they had to terminate these officers, the city finally started to address that we have a homeless problem, and the city is actually going to have to take some sort of role in this. And for the 10 years previous, this was a problem that was being handled solely by charities, and there was just way more demand than could ever be handled. So now the city is finally starting to get involved. There's a big push within the city and within the charities to create 40 units of Housing First housing for the most chronically homeless people in our community. These people are also usually the most costly to communities in terms of ambulance rides, detox visits, emergency room visits, police man hours, incarceration. And getting this group and this population into housing will save the city money and free up funds for the development of low-income housing for people who are suffering everywhere. Because homelessness is really, is the canary in the mine. It is how we judge how far down we've fallen, and there's a lot of people that are in houses that are just holding on to by the skin of their teeth like they never had to before. It's a tight issue. The homelessness is the beacon of the poverty and lack of health care and overinflated rents throughout this nation, and everybody's having to grapple with it now. And the only way to do it is house people. Housing is the only solution to homelessness.